in there with the lowest cab drivers you couldn't even get on 5th Street. And I'm pissed off, bro, because the play calling was abysmal. Look, even if you don't like Shedeur didn't even get a chance to be trash. Even if you think Shedeur is garbage, he didn't even get a chance to be garbage. That's how awful the offensive line was. Kevin Stefanski still doesn't want to give Shedeur second strings and first strings reps. Why is that? Now, what's more horrible about this game was it was to the point.
Let's cut the polite PR fluff and say the thing fans have been yelling at their screens. Derek Carr just broke the huddle on the NFL's favorite script, torched Kevin Stefanski by name, and dared the league to pretend it didn't hear him. This wasn't a vague subtweet or a sideline whisper. He went straight at the Browns' head coach over how Shedeur Sanders was handled. That's the news. That's the shock. And yeah, he said out loud what everyone else has been too scared to risk. What happened to Shedeur wasn't development. It was a message. And not a subtle one. Here's why this matters right now. Quarterback careers don't rise or fall on a spreadsheet. They live in the tiny windows where trust is earned. 2-minute drills, gotta have it snaps. The moments you can't rehearse. You grow a young QB by giving him the wheel when the road is bumpy, not by pulling him off the highway just as he hits the on-ramp. Carr's been in this league long enough, with enough scars and receipts, to recognize sabotage disguised as stewardship. He saw Shedeur yanked from the 2-minute.
We seen that miserable game by the Cleveland Browns. So they throw Joe Flacco in there, and I like Joe Flacco. He did good, but they gave him the resource of all the first-team guys. Then they throw Dylan Gabriel in there with first teams and second teams. So Dylan always is getting protected. The same thing again, they gave this scrub max protection on every play. Yeah, he completed some passes, but let's talk about his mistakes. He's still inconsistent with his throws, but he at least had max protection.
Drill, the lab where rookies become leaders, and he called it. Because when a coach rips those reps away, it doesn't just change a drive. It rewrites a narrative. Stay with me, because over the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 3 things. First, how that 2-minute decision wasn't about protection, but about optics. Second, how Carr's outburst cracked the veneer on the league's control-the-story machine, especially when the quarterback is confident, electric, and not interested in playing mannequin. And third, why this saga is bigger than Shedeur, bigger than Cleveland, and absolutely about the soul of the sport. If you came for highlight clips, this isn't that. If you came for the real, you're in the right place. Let's start with the moment that lit the fuse. Picture it. Preseason chaos, noisy stadium, clock bleeding out. This is the classroom where young quarterbacks find their heartbeat. The 2-minute drill is the instrument panel. Tempo, command, clock, spacing, the whole cockpit lit up. You don't learn it in April. You earn it in August with your chest tight and your mouth dry. Carr watched the Browns wave Shedeur over, then wave him off, then hand the final reps to someone else, and the message rang louder than the PA system. We want the box score safe. We want the story tidy. We want the media hit tomorrow to say steady hands guided the ship. Protection? No. Presentation? Here's the application in plain football terms. You pull a rookie out of those snaps and you don't just deny him throws, you deny him voice. You mute cadence. You pause leadership. You replace instinct with hesitation. And quarterbacks don't grow in hesitation. They calcify in it. That's how you create the project label without ever saying the word. Then you can bench the kid with a smile and a corporate statement about development paths, while the world nods along because it sounds reasonable. Framing-wise, this is expectations versus reality in shoulder pads. We expect player safety and plan, but the reality is control of the narrative, control of the stat line, control of who gets credit in the morning and blame at midnight. Now the strongest point, why Carr's voice hit like a sledgehammer. Derek Carr is not the league's favorite agitator. He's the league's church on Sunday quarterback, dutiful, team first, polite at the presser. For a guy like that to throw down, that's a 5-alarm fire. He's lived the politics. He's worn the inconsistent scarlet letter while dragging rosters that changed coordinators like socks. He knows exactly how quickly a reputation hardens once a front office decides it likes a different storyline. And he knows how the machine hums. If you fit the brand, you're fiery. If you don't, you're emotional. If you toe the line, you're leaderly. If you color outside it, especially if you're a black quarterback with confidence and style, you're distracting. Carr didn't invent this playbook. He slid a highlighter over it. Let's set that context cleanly. The NFL loves to market authenticity, but it loves control more. It amplifies the underdog as long as the underdog stays cute and quiet. Post a watch? You're Hollywood. Raise your voice. You're immature. Miss one read behind a turnstile offensive line? Not ready. Meanwhile, other quarterbacks can drop interceptions like party favors and get framed as gritty learners. You've seen this movie. Different cast, same score. That's why Carr's words felt like a courtroom transcript instead of a rant. They matched what fans already sensed in their gut. Apply that to Shedeur Sanders. He's not walking into the league with a blank slate. He's walking in with Deion Sanders stitched to his DNA. That means the expectations arrive at the airport before he does. Every swaggering step is magnified. Every silence is interpreted. Every smile is analyzed. Confidence that would be called edge on someone else gets hung around his neck as ego. And when you hand that player a patchwork preseason line, toss him into junk time series with no rhythm, then snatch him out of the 2-minute like a mic cut at open mic night, you're not evaluating. You're editing. You're cutting his highlight reel for him and then pretending it just happened. Let's frame it bigger. This isn't about one rep or one coach. It's about the league's allergic reaction to quarterbacks who insist on authorship. That's the word, authorship. The power to write how their story sounds in real time. Quarterbacks with charisma and a point of view unsettle institutions because they bend playbooks and press conferences to their gravity. And yet, if you actually care about winning, that's exactly the energy you want, poised with personality. Reality check. Personality doesn't lose games. Bad structures do. Personality only gets punished when the structure wants obedience more than it wants growth. Here's a quick proof for the "it's systemic" crowd. We've watched Lamar Jackson have to be perfect to be accepted as merely legit. We've watched Jalen Hurts go to a Super Bowl and still field think pieces about whether he's a product of the system. We've watched Justin Fields asked to outrun and outthink broken designs at the same time. The bar moves depending on who's standing beneath it. The league would rather argue about tone than fix protections. It would rather grade press conferences than pocket movement. And if you think Shedeur's last name didn't crank the volume on all of that, I've got a very nice be patient cliche to sell you. Back to Carr, because his credibility is the drumbeat here. This is a guy who did it the right way. Show up, take the hits, keep the faith, make the podium sound like a corporate onboarding video. He did that through coaching changes, roster leaks, front office politics. And guess what? It still burned him. So when he hears the soft corporate language, protecting the rookie, managing the moment, staying on schedule, he hears it in the register of a man who's already paid the toll to cross that bridge. In his framing, Shedeur didn't struggle. He was never allowed to succeed. There's a difference you can feel without the all. 22, rhythm stripped, cadence paused, instincts benched. If you're a quarterback, your confidence is a muscle. You don't build it with bike rides. You build it under weight. Let me drop a pattern interrupt, because there's a question lingering in the air. What if this isn't incompetence? What if it's preference? Preference for the known over the new. Preference for the veteran whose narrative is tidy over the rookie whose ceiling is messy and bright. Preference for the guy who makes Monday's press conference easy over the kid who might force you to answer why instead of what. If that sounds harsh, remember what we just witnessed. A 2-minute lab session confiscated, then repackaged as benevolence. Protecting him from what? The experience he needs. Fans aren't blind. They're tired. They miss football, real football, the gritty kind that rewards nerve and punishes fear. College still flashes that pulse because Saturday lets raw talent breathe. Sunday often smothers it with optics. That's the gap Carr punctured. He didn't say the league is evil. He said the league has become performative. He didn't say coaches don't care. He said too many care more about managing perception than maximizing potential. And if that stings, good, because the sting means there's a nerve worth saving. Now, a loop I promised to open early and close now. The so-called protection of pulling Shedeur. Protect from what? A sack? A mistake on film? You know what actually protects a rookie? Knowing his coach will let him fight through the storm and learn where the lightning hits. You don't get clutch by watching someone else practice it. You don't build a fourth-quarter voice from the sideline. You cannot simulate pressure. You have to breathe it. The Browns didn't bubble wrap a prospect. They bubble-wrapped their narrative. Let's talk outcomes, because this cannot end with a resigned shrug and that's just the league. If Cleveland wants to be the villain in their own movie, that's their business. But there are franchises right now who would turn that spark in Shedeur into a blaze. Teams with coordinators who adjust to talent rather than force talent to shrink.